Hey Reflections. So, look at my new rock. I'm so excited. This is so awesome. I love it. Look at how alien it looks. And look at those eyes everywhere. So cool. Anyway, today is going to be an interesting day. Yesterday was an interesting day. So, I really realized yesterday never to judge anybody. No matter how much you feel like judging them. And the Matrix works in a really interesting way. So, yesterday I was doing my hair oiling, just doing this stuff that I'm usually doing on a Saturday night, listening to a Gordon White interview and just oiling my hair, drinking some kombucha, getting a little drunk off of that, eating my kiwis and just chilling, and then I went in the shower because I was put the oil in my hair for a while, and it was about like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I hear a knock at my door, and I'm just like, who is that? It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. So I get out of the shower, I go and check, there's nobody I could see in the peephole, and then I go back into the shower, finish scrubbing myself with some pink Himalayan salt and rose, and I come out and I hear another knock at my door, and so I go and I answer it, and it's my neighbor, and it's my neighbor from downstairs, and he just looks really concerned, and he's like, "Do you have a number to a locksmith?" And I was like, "Yeah." So I give him the number, and I'm like, "What's going on?" And then I see my other neighbor using my doormat as something to cover herself, and the first thing I say is like, "Oh my god, do you need a towel? Do you need something to wear?" She's like, "I locked myself out of my apartment, and yeah, I do." So I told her, I'm like, "Just come inside, you shouldn't be out there like that." And she came inside, and I was just talking with her, and I was just like, "What's going on? What's happening? And tell me about yourself. I want to know." And this is one of my neighbors that does crazy parties on the weekends, and it's not just that person, it's all the people in my building, because they're all kind of young-ish, and she told me she was out drinking, and she came back home, and she doesn't remember. She just woke up naked in the hallway of our building, and then she went to my neighbor downstairs, and he brought her here. And I could kind of relate to that, because before I used to drink a lot. I mean, a lot. I used to drink so much. And it's just kind of just brought out so much compassion, and it made me realize, wow, some people just need help and love, and you shouldn't judge them, because the Matrix really works in mysterious ways. And it's almost like I was seeing a reflection of myself from 6 years ago, because I used to do stuff like that. I used to go out partying, black out. Thankfully, I had people around me that took care of me, but I could just imagine how scary of an experience that is. And we started talking, and at first we had nothing to talk about, But then I pulled out my bong and I was just like, here, you need to smoke and just chill. And we were waiting for the locksmith, and she looked at one of my paintings, and I'm going to insert that in the video. And she was just like, oh my god, I have the same exact painting, or like picture, and it was a picture of an octopus. And the reason why I got that picture was because I actually saw that entity in DMT space, and it just made me start thinking. And I was actually going to do a video on DMT entities, and not just DMT entities, but entities in general, because you see them whether you're in DMT space or, you know, mushrooms, you're taking mushrooms, or you could just see them clairvoyantly. So it just made me think, interesting. And it's so weird how the universe works, and it just kind of humbles you, and it also makes you see that you need to have compassion and empathy, even if, you know, that person is very unconscious and doesn't really realize what they're doing, because how could they, you know, like, just, we're living in such a toxic world where toxic behavior is encouraged. And all I kept thinking was like, wow, I don't want to be too preachy to her, because, you know, that's the worst way to try to get to a person. But I was trying to, like, you know, relate to her and tell her it's okay. It's, you know, it's something that happened to me. I was locked out of my apartment once in my underwear and a t-shirt, and it wasn't because I was drunk. Actually, I just was silly and locked myself out, and I had to wait for, at the time, my ex-boyfriend to come back, and I was waiting in the laundry room in my underwear. And it was just like, I was just trying to be funny and nice and compassionate. And it's so odd, because when people are in a weird position like that and you're being really, really nice, they don't know how to react, and it's just like, it's too nice for them. It's too much compassion for them. And I was telling her, you know, like, I used to be like that, and I traded in my wine bottle for kombucha, and I traded in a lot of the parties for reading and, you know, for doing artwork. And I was just kind of like encouraging her and telling her, you know, it's okay, don't worry. But I think that some people are just so unconscious, they don't realize a wake-up call when they see one. But it really makes me realize, never judge people. Like, never judge people, because they're just unconscious, and they don't know what they're doing. Because, well, first off, all the entity attachments that we have, and all the toxic behavior that is basically encouraged. And it's so funny, because after that, like, she's just like, if you ever need anything, if you just ever want to hang out, like, let me know. And it's just like, wow, it's so interesting, because a week before, I was coming in and I actually saw her roommate, and, like, he was a really cool dude. And I thought to myself, wow, these are the people having the crazy parties. Like, they're not bad people. Like, they're not assholes. They're actually really freaking cool people. And I could see myself, like, hanging out with them, because they're not mean. Like, they're just unconscious of their behavior. And then and then this happens, and it's just like, wow, compassion will get you friends. And it's so interesting, because it was at a time where I was thinking, like, how weird I am, because I don't do what normal people do, and I was just feeling a little bit just odd. I'm like, why is it that everybody's out having so much fun and partying and having so many friends and I don't? And I was kind of just reflecting on that. And then I thought to myself, wait a minute, I do have friends, and it's just that my friends are just a little bit more conscious now, and I have friends all around the world. I have my reflections, and I was talking to a reflection the other day, and wow, there's so many people out there that will give you so much knowledge. And he gave me a computer program and like all this books, and it's just, I'm so blessed and so thankful. And now I think of things in a completely different way. And I realize how much help the world needs and how much love and compassion the world needs. They don't need people judging them, because right now there's so many things working against them, and we're living in this very toxic environment. And it's just like, of course people would act a certain way because they're not doing enough DMT and mushrooms. They're not really conscious of their actions, and it's great. Like, it's so great coming to these realizations. It's so great seeing how compassion could actually make you a friend. And it's so interesting to see how other people deal with things and act. And I usually just like to people watch and see. And they're not bad people. Yeah, they have crazy parties, but they're not bad people. Unfortunately, they're just not taking enough psychedelics. So as soon as my shroomies grow, I'm going over there and I'm just going to give them a present. Like, that's what neighbors do, man. They're compassionate, they're loving, and that whole love thy neighbor thing, just, it really made sense. It really made sense, because that is just an unconscious reflection of myself, and I saw it, and I just realized how much love the world needs, and how much love we all need. And there's so much love in my heart that I felt like she needed something, and she needed someone, and she just needed some good ass energy. So I gave her some clothes, I gave her some alkaline water, and I just gave her love. And it's an interesting Saturday night. Not my typical Saturday night. My typical Saturday night would be like reading or listening to lectures, but hey, when light work calls you, when you need to do good, you need to do good, and you don't need to judge anybody, and you don't need to make anybody feel bad about what their actions are, because I feel like that's all people do. And another reflection was talking about this, and I actually was ruminating on this before, how people do not let you forget all the bad things you've done. And it's just like, I've done some crazy shit. Like, I've done some crazy shit with my family, and like, they never let me forget. Like, even though I am a compassionate, loving, well-adjusted human being now, it's like they can't let go of the past, and they're constantly in judgment. And it's just like, it humbles me, and it makes me see my own silliness in judging people, and everybody just needs love, man. Anyway, reflections. I hope you're having an awesome, awesome, awesome day. Love people, have compassion, and help people out. Bye, reflections.